Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video where we're going to go ahead and set up a HDR scene inside Unreal Engine 4. So this is a pretty easy thing to do. It's a very quick thing to do as well. The first thing you need is some HDR images. So I have got my HDR images from No Emotion HDRs. And for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to use a night scene. Now these HDRs are for non-commercial use only. So when you download these, you will get like the link to this website. But that's perfectly fine. If you have your own HDR images, then please feel free to follow along using those too. So just to show you the setup here, I have opened up Photoshop and I've imported the original HDR image. And in a new document, I've gone ahead and resized this. So if I go to the original image, you go to image size, you can see that the scale is 15,000 by 7,500. So what you need to do is we actually need to make this to a manageable size in which Unreal can recognize. So I copied this image into a new document and gone to image size, and you can see that it's now 1024 by 512. Now it is important that you use this size, otherwise when you import this image into the engine, or you import an image that is not this resolution into the engine, it will not work. Now as you can see here at the bottom, as I said, he will have the actual website link along the bottom. That's perfectly fine though. And lastly, the last thing I have is in 3ds Max, I've just exported a sphere with inverted normals here. So basically when we're in the inside, this is what the player will see. He will see just the inside of the sphere. So with that said, let's jump over to Unreal Engine, and you can see that I have got inside the content folder, I have a folder named Sky, and I've gone ahead and imported the Sky here. So I'll just delete that and re-import this in so you can see. I'm going to go to import, and I'm going to scroll down into, I have the mesh here that says Sky. In the import settings, I'm not going to generate any collision as this is Sky, and I've turned off import materials and import textures because we're going to set that up ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and choose import, and we can close this little warning. That's not too bad. So once we have this imported, let's go ahead and bring this into our scene, and I'm just going to set the world origin here to 000, so that will just center the sky for us. You see this is a very large sphere here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to right click, and I'm going to go and choose import. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I have the HDR image. Now over in Photoshop, the original image is the ._a, and the lower resolution image is the _b. So going back over to Unreal, you see this is the original image and this is the resized image. So we're going to go ahead and choose the 04-28_b at night_b, choose open. And this may just take a few moments to import into the engine here. Really sort of depends on your computer. So as you can see, I've imported this in, and here is the image. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and set up the material, and this is very simple. All we need to do is right click, go to material. I'm going to call this M_sky. And I'm going to double click this and open up the materials, or the material editor here. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to change the type of material this is. So this is a default lit, but we want to choose this to unlit because the only channel we really need here is the emissive. So with that done, we're going to right click, and I'm going to just type in cube, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the texture cube sample parameter cube. Select this, and once we've done that, I'm going to scroll down, and you can see we have this default cube map, but we want to go ahead and choose our own. Now if we would have had this texture selected when we added this node into the materials, then that would have already been set up for us. So let's just bring this over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this into the emissive color, and you can see we're going to get this error. That's perfectly fine. What we need to do is we need to go ahead and type in reflection, and we want to bring in a reflection vector, let's see, reflection vector WS, or world space. So we're going to go ahead and hook this up to the UVs, and you're going to see that we have the actual texture in here. Now what we want to do is, as you can see as we're moving around, this is actually incorrect. We want to fix this. So the way to fix that is to go ahead and just hold the 3 key, which will bring in a constant 3 vector, and we're just going to simply hook this up. And so now when we move around, you can see that the position in which we're staying in, or the position of the camera, is actually still, and we can move around the scene here. So I'm going to go ahead and compile that. And now when we go ahead and drop this onto our texture cube, or our sphere here, you can see that now we have our HDR scene set up, and you can see we have light coming from the areas of the buildings, and so on and so forth. So that's basically how we set up a HDR image inside Unreal Engine 4. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.